Oh, what happened there? Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. We made it and we got lots to talk about. I hope you had a wonderful and, you know what, blessed week. I would actually love to hear if there, well, I want to hear about like what good things came your way. And you know what, if nothing good came your way and you just need to talk your week, then I'm here for that too. But we have other things we need to talk about, so I hope you're ready. We need to talk about Melissa Gorga being Melissa Gorga. She is once again talking about Bravo's inability to speed up their decision making process when it comes to Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. The Diddy trial, a lot going on. There are few things certain. You know that saying where they say there are few things certain in life, death and taxes or something like that. I think death, taxes, and Diddy going to jail for a very long time are the certains in life because Aubrey O'Day is coming. Don Richards is coming. It's a lot. We'll talk about all that. Gonna hit on Vicki's comments. She was on Jeff Lewis Live yesterday with Shannon, which if you listen to our show, mine and Vicki's podcast, My Friend, My Soulmate, My Podcast, you know Vicki did not film at all for season 19 of Real Housewives. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll tell you why. And then let's talk about this Real Housewives of London tease. I started to say Real Housewives of Ladies of London. So let's talk about that. And we'll see. I'm going to share my thoughts on it and then we'll get yours. So anyway, happy to be here with y'all. Happy Friday. I would love to hear what was the highlight of your week. Let's see. They are so tired of Melissa's. I mean, you know, it's like if Melissa sold an outfit at Envy for every time that she questioned Bravo's status on the decision of, you know, the of Real Housewives of New Jersey, she wouldn't be having to ask because Envy would be Chanel. You know what I'm saying? Well, it'll never be Chanel, but the fake Chanel, if you know, you know. So I just, yeah, but look, let's be honest now, and I will give her this. And I'm not, you know, a lot of times they go on, you know, podcasts or they're on at an event. They can't help what people ask them. And it's like, you know, you got to think if you're a reporter and you live in LA and you haven't seen Melissa at an event in a year and a half and you get 40 seconds with her as she's walking by on a carpet, chances are it's going to come to mind to ask about Jersey. It's just how it is. And so she's going to answer it, you know. So, I mean, I don't want to just say that she's out here waking up and like, you know, instead of, you know, starting your, you know, with a cup of Folgers, she decides to do a cup of complaining to Bravo. I don't necessarily think that that is her approach. Do I think that she probably does talk about it a little too much, even willingly? Yes. But I do want to give her the credit that, like, you know, you're asked questions. It's like, and at the end of the day, there are only so many versions of an answer that you can give. And in this case, probably one version of the answer. I know nothing. And so it's also like maybe that's why she keeps calling on Bravo because she's like, AKA, y'all stop asking me. Let's see, where is our girl Victoria? Victoria is in OC right now. She just got back from Puerto Vallarta. When was it? Tuesday or Wednesday? And I actually booked my flight last night. I am going to see Vicki next week. I'm so excited. We're gonna have a few days together, get some content, do an episode. I hope and see some fun people. Really, really excited. I think I'm going to get to go to Coto de Caza for the first time. I told my dad, I was like, it's like the Holy Land. You know, it's like where it all started. It's like the White House of Bravo, in my opinion. You know, it's that to me, Coto de Caza is more Bravo HQ than 30 Rock. You know what I'm saying? Just being honest. Happy Friday to you too, Alice. What was the best part of your week? And Alice, where are you watching from? Is it Inez? Is that your name? Inez? I used to have an ex and his niece was named Inez. But yes, Victoria is in OC. She is nose deep in her office, if I had to guess, just giving the best insurance service that she can to everybody. But I would love to know where you're watching from as well. Please tell me. Let's see. So is anyone keeping up with the Diddy trial? It's interesting because I feel like so many like legal cases you know, a lot of times they take so long to like get to court, and you know, once they're in court it takes forever, and it's like a lot of times I feel like a lot of the public discussion around cases, depending on how long it takes, dies down. And I feel like with what's going on with him, with Diddy, it's been very, you know, like the fact that they just they just got their what is it, the jury selected, like it felt like a few days ago, and Cassie has already taken to the stand. Aubrey O'Day is confirmed to take the stand, and so is Dawn Richards, all from those two from Danity Kane and Making the Band back in the day. And if you followed Aubrey over the years, she is very vocally and clearly against everything that Diddy did with them. Not everything. I mean, I think she's thankful for the opportunity, but he also took it away from them and was horrible to them. So, saying all that to say, we celebrate justice and we celebrate people having the opportunity to get closure for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And so I hope that you know, and also I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that is. And I saw like tweets, they're like, it'll either be this week or next week. I guess it depends on the progress of like the trial. But it's like, can you imagine how nerve-wracking that would be, just sitting and waiting? Even if you did know, like, I'm going in tomorrow at 9 a.m. to testify, like that is years and years and years of your own thoughts and trauma and experiences that you're probably dealing with yourself, then combined with sharing it with others, and then them helping you navigate and realize like, I am a victim of something here. And then to publicly, on what they know is, I mean, even if it's not like a live trial, it's obviously a very public situation. You know, there will be 2 seconds between their statements and it being out in the world. And it just is so, I think, brave, and I'm just happy that they're doing this and that they have the opportunity to do this. And so kudos to them. Let's see, Alice, I'm laying out getting my tan on. I know that's right. KM, watching you from my sunny backyard in sunny California. Well, maybe I should come see you in sunny California next week when I'm there. I'm actually watching from the area where Vicki grew up. I love that. You know, Vicki loves her Midwestern girlies. What about the white parties? Now they're not even brought up. I'm so invested. The white parties. Like Diddy's parties? Or Kyle Richards' white parties? Those are two different things. You know, one has Glenn, the party planner, and the other one has people that I don't want to be around. You know, and the other one also has, what is it, Habit Burger? That they always have the food trucks. That's the white party I'm trying to go to. So I think Diddy is someone with too much money, and he became sick. On the other hand, he was deranged. I mean, I've thought about this too, and like reading everything, like how much has to both go wrong, but also right for him to get away with it. Like it's like a power. I hate to say this, but it's like, if you ever watch documentaries on like someone that has killed people, it's like once you get a bite of that thrill and that, like, you get away with it, like it's almost like an inflated sense of ego, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. So that's why when I say things to go like right for him, as horrific as they are, so many things he had to feel went in his favor for him to continue this behavior. Or he either just knew he had people that were going to work for him and make whatever he demanded happen. But in that case, even still, how many people have to be in line and in line or aligned with what you're doing, and to not say anything. And if they do say anything, like, I mean, you know, like him paying off, like I think they paid off that hotel person, the security guard. The video ended up coming out anyway. But it's just like, you have an entire organization of people who probably only have to focus on cleaning up mess from your nasty behavior. So it's just baffling to the mind that it can get to this point. You know, it really is, and it's terrifying. So saying all that to say, yeah, too much money and too much power. Absolutely. The Lil Rod story about someone. Oh, and see, there's a lot of theories too about him being involved. Like, didn't like somebody's like car like get on fire or something. I don't remember. He's again, I think that, like you watch like movies about like Hollywood or like, I don't know, just like people that get away with crazy, crazy stuff and go to there's no end of the world they won't go to get justice and to get back at someone. And they're able to do it. Like it feels like Diddy could just, like crazy. Too many yes men and too many women. Yeah. And also, but then we're talking about how it gets to that point. How does it start? How do you find out that someone in your inner circle is sick and okay with what you're doing? It's just horrible. But all that to say, it's coming to an end. And I think that it is, it's not wonderful. It's not good because the whole thing is horrible, but it is worthy that Aubrey and Dawn get their chance. And Cassie was able to as well. So, and Cassie was first, I think. So, ladies, you're doing the right thing and hang in there, for real. Let's see. Oh, and I wanted to say too, if you are looking for more topics or more discussion on the Diddy trial, other than me just sitting over here saying that he sucks, please go listen to Hollywood Raw, because they like deep dive into it, and they've been covering it, so it's more than just me sitting here baffled at someone's terrible behavior and the terrible behavior of those around them. But yeah, man, like Hollywood is like the American dream. Like everything can happen there for you, every dream you can, but it also has the possibility of, it's just horrible. Like if you get wrapped up with the wrong people, it's like God's the only thing that's going to get you out of it, So, let's talk about my girl, Vicki. She was on Jeff Lewis Live yesterday. Was it yesterday? And, she was on Jeff Lewis Live yesterday, and she was on with Shannon. And of course, back to people getting asked about things. She was on with Shannon, and she was basically, of course, asked about Real Housewives of Orange County. She said, a caller called in and said, has anyone, will we see you at all, like at a party or whatever? And Vicki, said, no, I didn't film once. She said, which is unusual. Even when I'm not full-time, I usually pop in, but that they didn't call her. Y'all know, obviously, like Vicki's like my everything. Oh my God, Sonja Morgan got taken away from a restaurant in the back of an ambulance. Sorry, just oh, there's video. This just came out. Sorry, y'all. Oh my Lord, Sonja. Dude, between this and the headline about her not wanting to pay her bill, oh my gosh. I can't watch anything about this vile person. Turns my stomach. Chris, hey boo, hope you have hey Mel, my girl, Mel NYC. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Like to see, I can't watch anything about this vile person. Like to see Vicki again. I hope you're not calling Vicki vile. That's my bestie. I don't think you are though. Anyway, so back to Vicki, and and Jeff just went right for it. He said, so they're probably still upset about the dark side of reality comments. And Vicki said yes, and she started saying that it was taken out of context. And this is why I love Vicki, because she is so honest with how she feels. Even if it isn't, when she talks about it, it doesn't necessarily come across as that way. It's like, and so I was watching it and I'm laughing because she's like, she's basically saying like, well, yeah, they're mad because I said this about, them filming me when my mom died. And it's like, yes, but when you talk to her in detail about it, that is not at all what upset her. Not them filming it. It was the way that they went and set up proper lighting and took their time creating a space that is appropriate for filming a scene while knowing that her mom was already deceased and that Brianna couldn't get in touch with her. They kept Brianna waiting. That is what Vicki is upset about. And when she talks about it being, like them filming it. It's like, yeah, that whole part was horrific because it's just a horrible experience. But that wasn't what she was upset with. She was upset with the fact that there was no sense of urgency given the situation. It seems she's like, it was like they needed the lighting to be appropriate before they could give me the news. When it's like now, they break the fourth wall and you run in and it's like we don't need that produced moment. And it's I think that in that moment there was still a story that could have been captured in real life moments that could have been captured. Who cares what the lighting was like? Who cares if it was in Shannon's gifting room, And as I've gotten to, work and get to know Vicki over the last, over a year now, she's obviously someone of, she will tell you how she feels and how something makes her feel. But sometimes also she's able to, when she talks about it, she doesn't necessarily do herself the justice in describing why it hurt her feelings and what the reason why. And so I think that, even when I was watching the clip where she said, like, well, it is messed up what they did. And it is messed up. But when you're listening to it, it almost seems like, it seems like she's upset about them just filming it in general. And of course, that's not the issue. It was that the priority of which the filming and informing someone of a very life-altering event came, the order in which those came. You know what I'm saying? And so I've talked with her in great detail about this, and I wish that and we talked about it on our podcast, like, and she said, she's like, of course, like, I'm not mad that they filmed it. She's like, we were working like that. They were working like what, of course they're going to film it. It was just finding out after the fact how much time had passed between them finding out that her mom was dead and Vicki finding out that her mom was dead. Like, I'm pretty sure she said it was like 2 hours or something. And there is no reason for that. Like, they could have just, boom, run in, and maybe it wasn't 2 hours, but 2 minutes is too long. When you know something like that, it's like, you gotta tell. And again, too, and it's not even to talk crap on the producers. I gotta think this was years ago at this point. Maybe they hadn't experienced anything like this in the moment. And if you've worked in TV production, it's a very fast-moving environment, and you gotta make a decision quick. And I don't necessarily know that there was ill intent behind it, and we all can look back and say probably should have handled that differently. So really, honestly, I don't necessarily think anyone's at fault, but I also don't think Vicki's at fault for feeling a little bit slighted by that. I think that it's fair to feel that it could have been handled differently while also still being fully willing and able to understand that I am telling the story and sharing my life. I think there could have been a happy medium there, and I genuinely don't. It confuses me why there's such a focus on her comments from that documentary. And Jeff too. Jeff said the same thing. He said, I think housewives have done a lot of housewives have done a lot worse, and they're back on their shows. And I agree. And again, I'm not talking crap about Bravo or anything. I wish that there could have been a little more. I wish there could be some compassion for her in that regard, especially because of all topics for it to involve her mom, and it's just hard, And so, and now even still, so every time she's talking about it, she has to talk about that, anyway. So I just saw that and was like, Lord, Vicki, gotta love her. Let's talk about Real Housewives of London, and then yours truly has to go get these eyebrows snatched up off this face because, hiding them. They need to get they're messy. They're looking like Alex and Alex McCord and Simon's house in Brooklyn, that townhouse under construction. I just want to know if Teresa is coming back to Real Housewives of New Jersey. I want that as much as I want air to breathe. So we're in this together. We saw that there was like a Real Housewives of London tease. Like, didn't they said they were going to like announce the cast, or I can't. Let me actually now that. Yeah, a 1-star. They say we think that maybe 1 star is confirmed, but that was because Ion commented on the post This is what it was. Yeah. They posted saying London's calling, who's on the line, cast announcement coming soon. Okay. When you do stuff like that, I'm going to need the announcement within 1 business day. Thank you very much. Hurry, you know? And Ion commented and said like Juliet was fabulous or something like that. So it led people to believe that maybe she is coming back. That Juliet obviously was on, she was on Ladies of London back in the day before it got canned. And they are now saying that, or because Ion commented that Juliet was fabulous, people now think that maybe Ion has a tip that she is involved in Housewives of London. But I just want to say, how confusing is it going? Housewives of London, Ladies of London, but the former cast member of Ladies of London is now on Housewives of London. My eyes just crossed. Maybe I'm just not smart, but that is going to be confusing to me. I don't even think Real Housewives of London is airing on Bravo because it's the Hey You. So maybe they'll do it on like a Peacock or something, or we'll get it later. No idea, but I feel like if Juliet does go on, they have to air it because like people love Juliet on Bravo, and I don't know. So very interesting. But hopefully we'll get that announcement soon. I feel like we need some. I know we just had like 4 new shows announced and they've announced BravoCon, but I want more. Give us more announcements. Give us something to look forward to. Mel, I'm still processing how the cast treated Vicki after her mom's passing, her daughter being sick, her being tricked by a criminal boyfriend. Listen, preaching to the choir, baby. I'll be the first to tell you no one has ever done everything right, but she lived her honest life, and I feel like she was as honest as she possibly could have been, and it is a shame. But she's a good one. Too much really. Let's see. Producers must have been trained by Jenny Jones. Bravo fans are greedy. Yes, we are. Yes, I am. I may look like I have it all, but I want more. Who said that? I may look. Taylor Armstrong. I knew that was a Real Housewives tagline. All right, everybody. Well, let's see. My eyebrow girl, the wax is hot and waiting on me. All right. And then I also have to go get a haircut, and then I have to go get a spray tan, and then I have to drive an hour and a half to take my dog to my grandparents her grandparents, my parents, because I'm also going on a last-minute overnight trip to Charleston to celebrate my friend's Bachelorette because I thought I was originally going to be out of town for work. No, I'm not. So Charleston overnight, bright and early in the morning. Chris admitting it is the first step. I admit it with pride, baby. And Bravo, they can be glad. They should be thankful we're greedy. That means we like what we got and we want more. Better than not wanting anything, right? I meant 1 London show is enough. I mean, I'm all for all the London shows, but when it's both shows about London groups of women, groups of friends, and one of them was already on one of the previously known names and is now on the other one, it's like, again, I literally just felt my eyes, like my head just hurts already. So let's see. Stay safe, enjoy. Thank you so much. Chris's quad level's busy. Honestly, June and July I am Charleston this weekend, Los Angeles, Orange County next weekend, house sitting the weekend after that. Then I think I have a weekend off. And then I'm going to, is it Tennessee that I go to after that? The weekend after. And then the weekend after that, I have 3 shows in 3 days with Teresa. DC, Cincinnati, and Chicago. Go get your tickets. It's in her bio and mine. So yeah, busy, but thankful to be here. Blessed. So I love y'all so much. And I can't wait to see y'all on Monday. Make sure you keep note of all the good and things that happened to you this weekend so we can celebrate them on Monday. And maybe we'll have some good Bravo tea to enjoy ourselves as well. Besos, I love y'all, and I'll see you next time.